So this is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which sounds like some kind of dating app for weird nerds, but is actually a surprisingly clever horror game disguised as a dating sim. And I mean really disguised. You start to play, and for the first hour or so, it's just bright anime girls, bad poetry, and enough sugary sweetness to give you diabetes. But then something happens, something weird, and the game starts breaking itself. Files get corrupted, characters act strange, and suddenly you're not sure if you're playing a game or if the game's playing you. It's like if Clippy from Microsoft Word became self-aware and tried to emotionally abuse you. And somehow it works. The writing is sharp, the twists are well executed, and it does that rare thing where the game starts messing with the player, not just the characters, you, the human, in control. The Plus version adds new stories that give more depth to the characters and make the whole thing feel more like a thoughtful narrative experiment, instead of just a gotcha horror twist. And I'll admit, begrudgingly, it's impressive. It takes the most disposable looking genre, the dating sim visual novel, and flips it on its head. You start thinking, oh, this is gonna be shite. And then it left right good nights you with some heavy psychological themes about depression, obsession, control, and play agency. It's weirdly unsettling. Yeah, it's still got jailbait anime girls with giant eyes and hair colours not found in nature, but it's also a meta-narrative about the boundaries of digital identity. So basically, it's Requiem for a Dream if Jared Leto had pink hair and wrote teenage poetry, which I suppose is just 30 Seconds to Mars. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is a genuinely unique game. It's smart, unsettling, and way more emotionally intelligent than it has any right to be. I went in expecting cringe and came out mildly traumatised, so that's a win. Just don't play if you think the fourth wall is sacred or if you're afraid of your PC asking you personal questions. So, Ollie, have you played Doki Doki Literature Club Plus?
No, I haven't.
No. Basically, it starts off as like a visual novel, dating sim kind of thing, where you're a guy who hasn't chosen an after-school club, which we don't really do here in the same way that like maybe Americans or Japanese do. But it seems like they have to pick one for some reason, for like, I don't know why. Maybe if there's any Americans watching, they can elaborate.
Just
So,
for the record, we are starting to do it now here, compulsory after school stuff.
Well, it's probably, I mean, not this one. I wouldn't, if your kids want to go to this one, I wouldn't recommend this, but it's probably a good idea.
One of my lads is going to high school and we've already had to start planning what things he's going to pick for after school because it's becoming compulsory now.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, so you get dragged along to a brand new literature club by your friend who's a girl, and you meet 3 other girls there, so total 4 girls who immediately all want your dick within minutes of speaking to you for the first time. And it's really rare in a video game that I feel represented.
I was going to say, you are preaching to the choir.
So,
it's
yeah,
like living my life.
Yeah, walking into a room with 4 women and they're eyeing me up like prey is pretty standard. And then you get to know these 4 women better, sort of through this poetry mini game. And that's it. That's the game for the first couple of hours, hour or 2. And you find out more about these girls as they open up to you. And they're really charming and flawed. And they feel really well written. And you can understand how kind of incels get obsessed with these games, because, you know, in lieu of talking to real women, these fake women must seem very interesting. Honestly, I was happy doing this. I was happy just chatting to these 4 birds and living my life. And then suddenly, at the end of Act 1, everything changes and it becomes horrifically unsettling. And no joke, this is one of the scariest games I've ever played in my life. I don't get scared by jump scares, monsters, killers, anything like that. But the way to sort of get to me is to unsettle me or unnerve me. And this game did it flawlessly, and it was awesome. There's about 3 or 4 specific parts where I got goosebumps every single time I played it through, and I played it through a bunch to get like the trophies. And every single time, these scenes that I knew were coming up, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about them. Every single time, I was like, "Oh, this is horrible," and yeah, it gave me goosebumps. I'm amazed at how much this game gripped me, to be honest, because I'm not a dating simulator kind of guy, because I talk to women in real life. And I'm not really an anime girl kind of guy either, even though like Jules Blue is the fittest woman I've ever seen in my life. But I was just really into this game. it's hard to even find criticism for it because it's just so well done. Like, I played this 2-3 weeks ago now, and I'm still thinking about it, and you can't say that about a lot of the dross that comes out these days. And from what I've read, it also deals with like the heavy subject matter really well. Obviously, I noticed when I was playing it that it seemed to deal with it well. And the side stories and stuff delve more into the characters and their problems and issues and stuff. But it's hard for me to gauge that kind of thing, because aside from like ADHD and a foot fetish, I'm pretty well put together. But people online seem to think all the hard-hitting stuff was dealt with really well, so I'm inclined to agree with them. The only negative I can conjure up would be that I just wanted more stuff. I just wanted more scenes, character models, animations, pictures, everything, that kind of stuff. And that's because I'm just being super nitpicky. Like, I'd imagine the amount you get is typical of a visual novel, and I'm just being greedy. Again, not much more I can say. It's just, it were amazing. So, unless you've got any questions, I want you to ask me a personal question.
Okay. Were you upset that this wasn't the pervy hentai experience that we all thought it was going to
be? There's some scenes that verge on it, where you kind of get the girls in the game are being a bit cheeky, and you kind of get a little bit of like, oh, so this could be turning. And like I say, they all want to you within seconds of the game. But yeah, I'm assuming there are versions of, maybe not obviously versions of this game, which is an outstanding horror game, but there's probably versions of like a dating sim visual novel kind of thing that are hentai fantasy kind of thing. And I always want to see tits. Real, animated. I can't think of another version, but so yeah, I guess I kind of was disappointed that. I think just say they are 18, so they are legal. And I don't know what Japanese age of consent is. I would imagine, just from what I know about Japan, the age of consent is low. But they are 18, so it's fine to. I will say, what I usually do is when I complete a game, I will join the Reddit or the subreddit, whatever they're called, afterwards, just because I like to see what people are doing in the game, how they saw it, and you know what. But I went on the Doki Doki Literature Club subreddit, and I was like, I'm not joining this subreddit in a billion years.
A group of incels knocking one out together.
I immediately were like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. So it's the one subreddit I've not joined after I've completed the game.
Well, I appreciate you answering my joke question with such candour. What I actually meant to ask was, would you recommend it for the Platinum Trophy?
Yeah, sure. The 100% complete, there's a trophy for 100% completion where you have to get all the songs, the title cards, the images, the poems, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of grindy. There's a couple that rely on RNG, so you've got to like just keep doing the same thing over and over again until you get it. So it's kind of grindy. But it only took me 10 hours to get the platinum. And that's only because I messed up one of the longest trophies and I had to redo it. So that was like an hour there wasted. And once you've done the game and once you've seen the dialogue, you get like a skip function where you can hold L2 and it just whizzes through the dialogue until you get to a bit that you haven't seen before. So you can fly through any dialogue you've already seen, which helps. Would I recommend this just to play? Absolutely. This game will stay with me for a long time. And I enjoyed every second of it, even if I was genuinely stressed out for a lot of the sections. However, I cannot recommend this if you're not of an appropriate maturity level for the topics covered. The game does make this clear what the topics covered are, the harder topics. And I'd also maybe avoid it if any of these topics would like trigger you, because while I loved it, it's not an easy game to play in terms of the things that happen in the end of the first act onwards. But I don't care about anything like that, so it was alright for me to play. But if things like that would get to you, then maybe play something less horrible. So yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a Doki Doki morning.